Welcome back to Battle Gear 1. Today I have something new for you. Something I actually just built last night. And I'm very proud of the design. I'm trying to go for more starships in my custom builds. So this time I went for a battlecruiser design. However, it's a custom battlecruiser design inspired by many animes, cartoons, anything with a starship. So this one doesn't have its own exact name. However, it does have a class name. It is a fragment class battlecruiser. And the reason it's called a fragment class battlecruiser is you can't exactly see the whole thing. Still can't get it in the shot. That's how, if you stand it up like that, that's how tall the thing is. This is me pulled back as far as I can go from the camera. And you're still not seeing the entire ship. But if I come closer, you see this entire section down here? That's an entirely separate ship. As well as, so is this little section down here. And there's a reason this is a separate ship as well as this one. But those two separate ships that are docked to it or attached to it are why it's called a fragment class battlecruiser, is because it fragments itself. It has twin shield generators, or those are actually the generators themselves. They're actually one big shield generator. It's just two emitters. That's what I was looking for. Two shield emitters linked to one massive generator. It powered by, or the real one, you know what I mean. Like in its own universe, it's powered by two different types of Nexus generators, which are unique reactor or unique power source for my ships. Basically what happens, well, one's a regular Nexus generator, just regular energy Nexus, where regular energy converges upon it. Basically, it draws from the universe. Regular power is drawn from the universe. And then there's the dark Nexus, which is also drawing from the universe. However, it draws dark power, or dark energy. Sort of like matter and dark matter. How they coexist. Whereas antimatter is essentially just negative matter. Dark matter is, well, it's dark matter. I don't even know exactly what dark matter is. I know it exists, but I'm not a scientist. I don't know the formulas for matter and antimatter and dark matter. But the bottom vessel, you see it, the one you see right here, just detaches like that, and it's known as a recovery vessel. Well, a recovery transport. That's roughly how big it is. This is how big it is compared to the mothership. And as you can see there, hang on, it's a bit wider than the mothership, but that's because it's essentially an entire extra section to the mothership. Now let me just get in close here on the, you can probably hear the washing machine in the background. Yeah, sorry, I had to check something. But when it's attached to the ship, well, to the mothership, these are up like that, and they act like stabilizing attachments or anchors as they magnetically attach to the walls. Well, one does. The other one just like leans up against the wall as it's, well, it's an extra little bit that's meant only for when it's launched. And that gun is more for defense than anything else, because although the battlecruiser may be able to carry itself and this little thing into battle, during a recovery operation after the battle, let's say an enemy comes in from behind and this thing needs to get out of there, it does have the capability of turning itself around and protecting itself with this gun. It can also do a bit of fighting on its own, but it's a light vessel, lightly armored except for the whole lower hull, the dorsal, no wait, ventral. Dorsal's on top, ventral's bottom. The ventral hull, its primary thrust is there, so it can just turn off its inertial dampeners and just float backwards towards the mothership as it shoots at its enemies. Got that idea from space engineers. Thank you, space engineers. Thank you to all the people who do that in Space Engineers. I do watch that. But it has its little recovery arm. It's just a little droid arm, but yeah, it's capable of recovering anything it needs to. This is not meant to go on planets unless absolutely necessary. Neither is this. However, and I'll show you just how it docks. With those two single stud points, it just attaches with stud friction, and you just on the white one and the tan one, the first hole of the tan one, you just line it up, and it's like trying to parts form a transformer, only with chips and like, well, Lego. That's not supposed to happen. However, that's been happening more and more lately. The emergency escape vessel I designed was not exactly up to par with the connections, because I only had one of these 2x1s with side stud, but I had 2 1x1s with side stud. But it detaches like that and then sort of flips over like that. Because the seats, when you get into the thing, you have to actually shut off the gravity generators to get to the seats. And then once you get inside this thing, you activate its gravity generators, and the gravity reorientates to the proper direction, and then it flies down to a planet to escape, or it can act as an evac vessel where you pilot somebody down, pick up a group, and then, you know, take off again. Let's get up close on that. It's not much. In fact, you may recognize some of the parts from the tank and the, well, the battle robot that I had. And if necessary for combative needs, it can be reconfigured into this variant, and you can ram an enemy vessel with it. In this configuration, they're not hindered as much, and so you can ram the top side of an entire enemy vessel, digging into the hull and causing a breach. That may seem gruesome to some people, but in the event of quick escape, you can just attach it to the front, well, to the bow of the ship. Don't want people getting mad at me for calling it the front when it's the bow. Proper nautical terms. It is the bow of the ship. It can attach to the bow, or it can reattach to where it came from. Back here. And in fact, I think I'm going to reattach it anyway, because that's the standard configuration for this vessel. It even adds an additional engine. It does have an engine back here for when if both of those vessels are off at the same time. There's an engine in there. These back here are just running lights, sort of, plus the gun that they're attached to. Get up close on there. See the red and yellow running lights, and then a heavy laser turret. It acts like the tail gun of a B-52 bomber. I don't know if they have tail guns. Do they? Anyways, some kind of World War II bomber. Plus then there are these, I don't know how well you're able to see them. There are 3 forward mounted heavy laser cannons capable of rotating 180 degrees, 90 degrees in either direction. Maybe a little bit more than 90 in each direction. Almost forgot to fold those up. This can also rotate, this little double barrel plasma missile launcher. That's primarily for destroying. And then there's the antenna. But this vessel is designed to completely obliterate its enemies, and it never goes anywhere alone. They're always in its own universe. It's always found in groups of 15 to 20 with an extra complement of fighter carriers that within the numbers of 15 to 20 to have at least 30 to 40 ships in a fleet, specifically for the fact of obliterating their enemy. Thank you for watching and have a good night.